지금 바로 브릿지TV의 멤버가 되세요. 멤버 전용 영상, 라이브 방송, 브이로그, 영어로만 말하는 영상, 대본, 학습 자료까지. 가입 버튼을 누르시거나 고정 댓글란의 링크를 클릭해주세요.
I visited Quebec over the weekend because, of course, I'm too cheap to go to Paris to see the Olympics. Speaking of being cheap, my family prefers to travel early in the morning so that we can save on flight tickets. We'd rather suffer in the tiny economy seats like peasants to spend more on our hotel, on which we usually do not spare a dime. The first thing that I noticed upon arriving in Quebec was that everything was French first and English second, which was funny because back in Toronto, where I'm from, the opposite is true. It's always English first and French second. On major highways, you'll see traffic signs written both in English and French, but on city streets, signs are written only in English. So I expected the same, but in Quebec, especially outside the airport, most signs were written only in French. And I suddenly became illiterate. And boy, I'm telling you, it was not fun. I had to turn to ChatGPT every time I had to order something because I had no clue how to pronounce items on the menu. Anywho, we arrived at our hotel, Fairmont Le Chateau Frontenac, which is well known for its appearance in the K-drama Goblin. The hotel gave a 17th century European vibe. Everything was brown and gold, such a joy to the eyes. After dropping our bags at the hotel, we walked up the famous Pierre Dugas du Mont Terrace. It was a hike. If you're planning to walk up there, make sure you get a good night's rest the night before. But the view was mesmerizing, definitely worth visiting. We took some photos and videos at the top of the hill, looking down the St. Lawrence River, before we walked down the hill to have lunch at a restaurant called Cochon d'Inde, which means crazy pig in English. But the food there wasn't so crazy. It was meh. The restaurant had great reviews, but it wasn't what it's cracked up to be honest. After having lunch, we were exhausted from walking for hours, so we headed back to our hotel room for a quick siesta. Round 2. This time we decided to walk towards Rue Saint-Jean, which is one of Quebec City's oldest commercial stretches. There were so many stores, nice restaurants, and most importantly, an ice cream store. We had dinner at a burger place and then headed back to our hotel again to get some rest. My daughter loved Pierre Dugas du Mont Terrace and wanted to go up there at night as well, so we did. It was a view. The picturesque view of all the lights glittering in the distance was overwhelming. We were already so tired, I only had a couple of hours of sleep because my work finished at around 2 a.m., but we decided to go down the breakneck stairs again because we're going to stay in Quebec for only one night. The same alleys looked and felt different at night, but our legs were about to give up. So we used a cable car on our way up, which cost the three of us 15 Canadian dollars in total. In front of our hotel was a street performer, but we were too tired to watch for long. So we just went back to our room and went to bed a little early to save some energy for the next day. Day 2 in Quebec City. I was going to go to a Starbucks inside the hotel, but my wife had a different idea. She took me to a coffee shop called Café La Maison Smith. The coffee was good and refreshing. We had a croissant and a cupcake for breakfast and relaxed for a while. I really needed this break. I've been working so hard for so long. Now, the UV rays in Canada are no joke, so you'll want to wear sunscreen with an SPF of 30 or more. My daughter fell in love with Pierre Dugas du Mont Terrace and wanted to go up there one last time. So we went up there again for the third time during our 2-day visit to Quebec because why not? We took even more photos and videos and walked down the hill, by which time we were all tired again. Our lunch reservation was at 12 p.m. and we still had time before that, so we decided to just wander around the area. Along the way, I got a little curious about the flag that I saw everywhere, the flag of Quebec. A quick history lesson. Quebec City was established by a Frenchman named Samuel de Champlain in 1608. However, in 1759, during the 7 Years' War, the British military conquered the city. As a result, Quebec City became part of Britain, but the French people in Quebec continued to speak French. Many years later, in 1948, the people of Quebec City wanted a special flag to show their pride in being French, and that's how the flag of Quebec was born. The flag is embroidered with fleurs-de-lis, a symbol of the French royal family. So this flag represents a connection between Quebecers and their ancestral home France. At 12 p.m., we went to La Bouchée, which serves traditional Quebec cuisine and is very popular among tourists. Transparently, I had such low expectations, and probably because of that, I found the food pretty nice. It wasn't mind-blowingly good, but it was tasty and definitely worth the money. We had already checked out of the hotel, so we couldn't go back to our room anymore, so we walked down to Lower Town again. We had about 2 hours before we had to grab an Uber back to the airport, and we weren't sure what to do for those 2 hours. And then we saw a cruise ship that was about to leave. We went to the ticket booth and asked when the cruise would begin. The lady at the ticket booth explained that the cruise would start in 10 minutes and would take about 90 minutes, which was a perfect schedule for us. So we bought tickets right away and jumped on the cruise ship. The cruise was fun, but it was too hot. We had air-conditioned cabins as well, but what's the point of being on a cruise and looking out through a glass window, right? So we chose to stay on the deck. Using the cable car on our way back up the hill was an easy choice this time because our legs were all sore from walking. We took an Uber back to the airport, and that wraps up our short 2-day trip to Quebec. The city felt like Europe, except that most people could also speak English. But I found it rather frustrating and inconvenient that almost everything was written only in French. We got on our flight back to Toronto, and we're finally at home. It feels so good to be back home. Hope you liked this vlog, and if you did, please hit that like button down below and subscribe to my channel. You can also join my channel to become a channel member. When you join the channel, it unlocks so many perks, ranging from custom emojis to access to a members-only chat room, to members-only videos including vlogs like this, to English study materials, and the list goes on and on. So, check out the perks for yourself by clicking the join button down below. I would also like to thank my precious channel members for their unwavering support. Your support means a lot to me, and I really appreciate every single one of you. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in my next one. To the other side.
It's a video.